Hi everyone! This is session 0 for a crossover series between Bard Rock Cafe, Monster Cafe, and Blades in Paradise. And what's so dope about it is that you, boosters, are gonna influence it. Interstitial games will release exclusively to our Patreon and Ko-fi boosters on the last Tuesday of each month. We're recording the episodes the first Tuesday of each month, giving you an entire week where you're going to tell us what you want to see in the next episode, and we're just going to have to deal with it. Episode 1 is available right now, and we really hope that you enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome Bard Rock Network boosters, and welcome to our Patreon-only campaign, Session 0 for our new show, Interstitial Games, an Interstitial actual played podcast. Now, before we begin and dive into it, I have a lovely cast here today, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. But to avoid all that first-time jitters, I'm going to call on them like I'm a teacher. Let's go ahead and start with Tensei.
Hello, my name is Tensei. You probably recognize me as Nadir on Bard Rock Cafe, but that's not who we're doing today. I am David Van Helmens, the 8-year-old monster hunter who doesn't really have a lot of the magic and spirit stuff that my parents and my brothers do, but that's okay.
Hadija.
Hey everybody, I'm Khadija. You probably know me from playing Rook on Bard Rock Cafe, the moody teenage Rook who's not the most secure person in the universe, who gets embarrassed easily, and we'll probably have a very interesting time getting to know these new people. Those of you who know her know she's got a bit of a warm heart underneath that tough exterior. Just so you know, my pronouns are she, her, and Rook's pronouns are she, her as well.
Perfect, thank you. All right, and then last but certainly not least, Riley.
Hi, I'm Riley. They pronouns. I play the Brash and Scrappy Scoundrel Sterling on the Blades in Paradise. They mostly use they pronouns. Kind of, whatever feels right.
Yeah, I gotcha. We can mix it up a bit. We can go a zay-zum, some, whenever you want. You just let me know. We can change it from episode to episode. I don't give a damn. We're off book. This is a Patreon-only campaign. You already paid for it. I don't have nothing to prove to y'all. Hi, everyone. I'm Nick, also known as Nobleman Nick. You know me probably as the GM and storyteller for Kingdom Hearts: The Interstitial War on Comfort Carrion. You might also know me as the creative director over on Gehenna Gaming, as well as the writer and lead designer of a game that's coming out called Eldritch Automata. But enough about my praises. I'm here to GM a very special game of Interstitial known as the Interstitial Games. And I'm really excited to get into it. I hope my 3 contestants are as well.
Oh, heck yeah.
Woo. Yes!
So first things first, we're going to talk about our inspirations for the game. So the Interstitial Games and anything we're doing with Interstitial, we're going to talk about what inspires us in the game. This is even before I go into what is Interstitial. Inspirations for this game are various death game type competition games, such as Squid Games, Alice in Borderland, Danganronpa, as well as games that are, talked about that are kind of big exploratory puzzles and or death traps, such as 999 or Saw. As a good one, is a very serious, non-whimsical reference. I mean, I guess it can be whimsical depending on who you are, if you're in that very macabre way, but also games about being trapped in another world where you can't get out, a la Deadland Wonderland. I mean, you're not in another world, but prison might as well be another world. And then The Amazing Digital Circus, probably like the second biggest inspiration for this game. That might become apparent in more ways than one. Okay, so let me talk about what Interstitial is. So Interstitial, also known as the Kingdom Hearts system, as we jokingly say, is this awesome game, powered by the Apocalypse game that was made by the amazing Riley Hopkins. But you might be asking yourself, what is Interstitial? So this is a game about hopping from world to world. Kind of true. This is about a game from hopping to death game. Fighting monsters? Probably. And making friends along the way? Maybe. Interstitial focuses on friendships, romantic relationships, teachers, siblings, enemies, and rivals. Sure, some of those things. Relationships come in many forms, but they make your character who they are. These make up the 4 stats: light, dark, mastery, and heart. Alright, here's a rundown. Light is the symbolic of the friendship and the love your character possesses, how empathetic they are, and how willing they are to make new friends. Dark is the inner frustrations your character has, the tendency to put up walls around them emotionally. They lash out at others and feel anger. Mastery is how much your character resonates in the world of academia or apprenticeship. They could have studied for years, they could be teaching others, they could be anything from a coach to an evil emperor. Anything's possible. And then heart. Heart is how much your character has grown to know themselves. It's looking at someone else and deciding you will change the way you act based on their actions. It's the willingness to learn without being taught. Alright, you've played PBTA games. It's fairly simple. All rolls are 2 6-sided die plus the stat. If you roll over 10, it's called a hit. You succeed in what you're attempting. If you roll 7 to 9, it's also a hit, but it's called a partial success. So usually there's like a little bit of a cost to it. And then when you roll 6 or under, it's a failure. That's it. We're going to be doing a bunch of moves, which we'll talk about when they come up. And that's Interstitial, everyone. And of course, we'll talk about links and stuff when they come up as well, but not really the time to kind of get boggled down to the weeds there. So before we start, I know I asked this before game, but everyone here was pretty familiar with Interstitial.
I don't feel that familiar with Interstitial.
Oh damn. Okay, well, we're about to get real.
Just being real.
We're going to get real familiar with Interstitial.
Sounds good.
I've played like 5 one-shots, and I think I'm by far the most experienced.
I'm familiar with the vibe.
You watched an entire 36 times 3?
I have consumed a lot of Interstitial.
You've consumed over 100 hours in a single of my Interstitial game, so you should know. You'll know Interstitial. You know how I run Interstitial. Tensei, you are the most prepared not to die in this game. Will that matter? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I will not allow it to matter. But we're gonna jump right into it. So, without spoiling it, what is the setup for the Interstitial games? Well, it's very clear. Your characters have been, stolen away. You've been plucked from your universe and dropped into this mysterious realm with this mysterious game runner who will quickly inform you of the rules. You have to survive these death games in order to leave, in order to escape. Why are you here? You are here because you're being punished by someone. Someone has entered you into this game. Someone has stamped your ticket, as well as everyone else that's in these games. And it's your goal not only to escape the games, but figure out why you've been placed here and who stamped your ticket. And you might think you might have a few usual suspects, but I'll warn you, as the game goes on, you will not be prepared. Oh, I have been studying behind the scenes for all of you. We did our safety discussion before our session 0 that we recorded here, just because that stuff is better off left off private. But to do just a quick overview of what we're using lines and veils, stars, wishes, and feelings, the X card, and of course cats, which is a great tool to get any person started. I highly recommend all, all 4 of those? Yeah, all 4 of those tools, just to kind of dive in and just like keep yourself comfortable when you run games. Real GMs use safety tools. Boom, there, I said it, put it on a shirt, yell at me, insult me on Blue Sky, I don't give a damn. Can we curse on this, Tensei? I forgot to ask.
You are allowed to say the fuck word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuckity fuck. Oh my god, I forgot what I was gonna say. Whatever. All right, yeah, we're gonna go over some stuff today and get this very loose session 0 out. Tensei, I forgot to ask, how many sessions is this fucking game? How many are we planning for? Because I don't remember.
I think we decided somewhere like 8 to 10, but I mean that's kind of your call.
Awesome. We're aiming for 8 to 10 sessions. So we're gonna go into talking about our characters, talking about where they're from originally, and we're gonna the session 1 will start with everyone waking up, but you can kind of give us a preview to what your character might think that they're doing there. So we're gonna go right down the list. Go ahead, tell us about David.
Yeah, so David is from a contemporary game set in roughly 2020 something, following a very rich family called the Van Helmons. They are direct descendants of the man who killed Dracula originally. David is the youngest in this main line. If you go listen to the show, every single one of the players is all one big family, and it's a very cool dynamic. David is the youngest in this line, and unlike the vast majority of his family, he doesn't have any particular like spiritual or magical affinity for anything. He obviously lacks like the experience that his grandfather has, and he's doing his best.
Okay.
He is appropriately playbooked as the mundane over there.
Yeah.
And yes, I did conjugate playbook that way. I don't care.
And we're going to be getting into our actual stat stuff after all these, but we'll just call this a little bit of a direct. Just give us a little introduction. All right, moving on to Rook.
Yeah. So Rook is a 15-year-old girl from the brothel district of Waterdeep. She comes from Bard Rock Cafe campaign, where she's with a team of adventurers she's eventually gotten to warm up towards. The whole thing about Rook is that she's very moody. She's not really good at letting people in, but she, over time warms up to people. She's fiercely defensive of her mom and now the Bard Rock team. So the people that she does love, like, she really deeply cares about them. She's a jewel thief, or she started out as a jewel thief and is now a full-on adventurer. Her one goal is to just pile up the money for her mom. And the thing about her is that she's super, super awkward, doesn't really know how to control her emotions very well. And so she's a teenager. And she's also a very, very skilled shot. She does a bunch of critical hits. It's pretty sweet. It's nice being a rogue.
We are starting these people young in these death games. Wow, I did not expect. We have...
I keep forgetting that Rook is that young. I'm gonna be honest.
We have... How old do we have? An 8-year-old? Is it 8 or 10? No, it's 8, right? 8. Jesus Christ. A 15-year-old and... Please, Riley, please tell me we have some sort of mature adult.
Well... Sterling is a 22-year-old courier for the Express Service Parcel Network. They're from Paradise, which is in Washington. I think we've established the year is 2345. It's sort of a steampunk dystopian capitalist hellscape. Sterling likes punching things and collecting Beanie Babies. So, very mature adult. It's secretly every dinosaur.
There you go.
Wait, what? What was that last part?
We'll see if it comes into play.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
I have just noticed that last line in your description. Okay, no, this is rad. This is gonna be hella great. And we're gonna quickly, I'm not gonna spoil who it is, but I have asked each person, each player, as it were, each character, protagonist, to bring about one NPC that will join them. We won't tell you who they are just yet, but we know who they are. And there are other NPCs that have been selectively chosen that our players do not know about. Thanks to my, or will be thanks to my GM assistant, that will show up as future contestants or otherwise in the game. So that's the exciting part. That's the mystery. That's the stuff that our players won't know as we go into it. But, that's the game. That's our little death game here.
I'm terrified already.
Yeah.
So excited.
With the players of the Interstitial games decided, now we're going to go in and we're going to talk about our actual characters mechanically. I'm going to go through and we're going to read out our character questions, as well as just talk about the moves that we have in the playbook that we chose. David Van Helmens, of the famous Van Helmens bread. Bet you didn't know that, but I did. I caught that. David, what's the playbook that you're repping today?
I fully didn't get that until we were like 10 sessions into this game. I want to say that. The name was not my choice. It was just somebody else who came up with it and was like, yeah, it's close enough to Van Helsing, whatever.
It's also mayonnaise. Oh no, it's the actual
Fully
mayonnaise.
did not clock that it's a mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's bread and mayonnaise. That's wild.
Yeah.
10 episodes.
Yeah. David Van Helmens will be using the playbook The Light for this. It's kind of, he's always He's always very cheerful. He literally has a move called the Power of Heart.
Restoration at 27%.
Now we're going to do something really fun. We're going to actually go into the playbook, which I'm very excited for. We are using the new Interstitial 2nd edition, fresh off the press. I'm super excited. But coming back around, I'm going to call on y'all. You're going to tell me what your playbook is, and then you're going to tell me what your link move is, and then what abilities you ended up taking. All right? And then we'll come back around again and talk about each other's links. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to start with the oldest and most responsible person here. David, what's the playbook that you chose?
Yeah, sure. For David Van Helmens, he's just a little guy who gets along with everybody, so I chose The Friend.
The Friend is about a character who's more comfortable helping others shine than to be the sun itself. But when you zoom out, you can see that everyone surrounding them is just reflecting their glow. Such a beautiful playbook for such a horrible setting. So tell me about your link moves.
The first one is when you meet somebody and immediately charm them, which I'm going to assume just is everybody in the game, make a light link with them. When someone is worried about how much you are putting on yourself, make a heart link.
And then I can only guess what this next move is based on, but
I have no idea, honestly. It's well, Gawarsh. There's so few vowels in it.
That was the perfect read of that.
who is
Gawarsh.
the Lord Garrosh? Is this Garrosh Hell's?
I actually do wonder if the A and W are swapped on this.
I thought it was Gorsh, like what Goofy says.
Gorsh.
Yeah, I think it is Garsh and not Gwarsh. Because if you swap the A and
Whatever.
W, it'd be Gwarsh. It'd be like the band.
Is there a band called Gwarsh?
There's a band called Gwar.
Just Gwar.
Yeah, just Gwar.
Oh, okay, I knew that.
So this is very Gwarsh-like.
Anyway, words are hard.
Take a shot, listeners, every time
Yeah, they
that
are.
Tensei mispronounces a word.
Take a shot every time I mispronounce this word in particular. What this move does is, when someone you have a link with is having a bad time, gain lift and try to help them solve the issue.
Aw.
It's just like, I'm good at helping people.
They're having a bad time. They're about to die. I need to help them win this game.
Yeah. I have a move that I'm not entirely certain if it's going to come up that much given the tone of the game, but always welcome. When you need a place to lay low, someone will always open their door to you.
That seems like it could be pretty useful.
Yeah. It's like always got a home. And then the real, what I'm hoping is going to be a problem child of a move. There has to be something. When you can tell someone is hurting and they won't tell you what's happening, try and find out through other methods. Level up, cause a problem, and then figure out what's going on.
Whew.
Amazing.
Rook is gonna be so mad.
Yeah.
All right. Riley, go ahead and tell us about Sterling.
I'll be playing the Displaced.
So Displaced is a person who is so connected to where they came from that they can't help but compare everything back to it. And more than that, there's a physical connection between them, and it is trying more than anything to reconnect. So you got a lot of connection issues, which, you know, who doesn't in this day and age? But go ahead and tell us what your link move is, Sterling.
So when someone reminds you of someone you used to know, make a heart link. And then when someone makes you feel at home, make a light link. Then I took 3 other moves. Memories of Home. So I can recall old memories to overcome a challenge and roll heart. On a 10 or higher, I remember something helpful. 7 to 9, I misremember some key details. On a 6 or lower, things work differently here and I make a fool of myself, which should be fun.
That's what we're all looking for. Some foolishness, some tomfoolery.
Mm-hmm.
So, glitched is a little bit vague. I'm not entirely sure how we want to use this in this setting, but when I take harm, I can avoid it by sort of flickering.
Okay, we can make that instead of because this is implying that you go to another place entirely. We can make it kind of like a teleport, so not entirely in like a different world, but enough. Or maybe you go to a worse game. Who knows?
I was chatting with Tensei about this before, and I think I had interpreted it as sort of like flickering back to like paradise or something, or like a parallel dimension, and Tensei had taken it as more of like teleporting within the space that we were in, if I'm recalling that correctly.
I think speaking to like the sort of larger way that the move works is that because it says you flicker to another place entirely, which obviously can't be like beyond the scope of the campaign that you're in. So
I assumed it was just for a second to avoid the damage and then be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does say with effort, you can do this at your will. Honestly, maybe this is me. This kind of reminds me of like Vanellope von Schweetz from like Wreck-It Ralph.
I believe that is the inspiration for this move.
Okay.
I'm not really familiar with that.
She could just teleport, but everyone called it a glitch, and it was like more of like an actual ability. Sorry if I spoiled a movie that's over 10 years old, but
yeah, it was a glitch at first because she like couldn't control it and would just like, but it was like very short range. Like she'd like be in a race and then like glitch off the track and slam into something.
Right.
And then like by the end of the movie, she can just kind of do it, and it's cheating.
There are lots of cool moves. If that doesn't seem like a good fit for our setting.
No, I think that could be perfect. We'll make it work. I like it.
So this one could also be a little chaotic. I took Discordant, powerful but very unstable. So I explode on doubles. There's a table that the displaced can roll on if I explode twice in a row. It describes it as tearing my character asunder.
I like that. It kind of, you know what? It's gonna be like when you can I'll make another reference at a little big planet. When you get stuck somewhere, you can just blow up. I like that.
This is very thematic.
You're like a Cyberman or Chaozu.
Do we want the stuff on the table to be a surprise, or should I go through it?
There's a whole ass table. I think we should keep it a surprise. But the idea is that you roll on a table, right?
Yeah, there are 6 options.
Yeah. Okay, then we're going to keep that a surprise for now.
All right, they are wild.
I just realized that this is actually very good. It is keeping with the Bard Rock's theme of wild magic.
Yeah, kind of awesome.
Perfection. Well, 2 characters, 3 moves each, plus a link move, but we're not done yet. Hadija, can you tell me about what you picked for Rook?
Yeah, the playbook I chose for Rook is the Discarded.
The Discarded has been cast aside by someone they care about, or at least they feel like it. They're bitter, distrusting, and want so badly to have someone pull them back in from the brink.
Yeah, very suitable for Rook. Yeah, so my link move is when someone sees through to the real you, gain a dark link with them. And the other one is when you push someone away who could have helped you, make a heart link.
Heartbreaking.
I am so gonna push everyone away. So I think that's very useful.
It's okay, you push them away to get links and then I will take them in to also get links.
There you go.
Teamwork, yay!
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work.
Right. Yeah, then my moves or my abilities. The first one I chose is who are you calling small? When your frustration about being overlooked gets you in trouble, level up. If you admit it's your fault, everyone gains lift to get out of this. So that's the first one. And then I know you're out there. You always know how to find someone you have a locked link with.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's like a stealthy-ish thing for Rook. Thought it was suitable. And then you can do better than that. Once per session, when someone you have a link with is struggling, you can egg them on and give them lift.
That's like a perfect amount of like, I don't know. I just, the who you calling small. I mean, classic like hothead behavior. And then you can do better than that. It's really cool to see how these playbooks have all kind of evolved and turned into like other things. And we've come to the last portion of our session 0. We're going to decide initial links on each other because this is what the game's about. So you might be asking, what is a link, Nick? Well, a link is a representation of your connections and relationship with others. All links, no matter positive or negative, are important. There are 4 standard kind of links. Light. These links are for friendships and loves, generally positive. Dark. These are rivals, born out of negative emotions. Mastery. These are teachers, students, mentors, and apprentices. These links can be either positive or negative, but leans on learning from the other. Heart. These are links made with those whose actions or attitudes lead you to introspection, or the discovery of new things about yourself. Each of you is going to start the game with 2 links on each other, which is going to be one on basically on each other. So,
Restoration at 69%.
okay, so we're going to move on to the final part of our character creation. We're going to talk about our links. So something that's different from first edition to second edition, instead of us going around the table and kind of like picking what we feel the links are, the playbooks actually give us the starting links, because links are like linked to stats, which are linked to like our abilities, and the more links you get, the better stats you have. In terms where I would just call the links the stats themselves, actually. So in order to kind of give you a better spread so you don't accidentally, I guess, make a character that can't really roll what they're supposed to roll, they actually could kind of give you the links to start out with. So starting with the discarded, or not the discarded, the display. Sorry. See, I'm already messing it up. God damn. All right, so I'm going to jump into it. Riley, what does Sterling start out with? How many links?
3 links, 1 light, 1 mastery, and 1 heart.
What link are you giving to David?
The light link. David is so sweet and friendly, and Sterling wants to protect this little boy.
That makes sense. And then what about Rook?
Yeah, I thought a lot about this and picked heart. I think Sterling is a very confident person and kind of sees a bit of themselves in Rook and the walls that they put up.
Oh, I think that makes sense. So you might be thinking to yourself, I have a mastery link I have to assign, but I have no one to assign that to.
I have some ideas for that.
Oh, but you do. Because, and you could choose to modify it as it is, I want you to assign that last link to the NPC that you submitted under the slideshow. And I won't talk about what those NPCs are yet, because they are going to be a surprise.
Really?
Oh.
Oh, how
Oh.
interesting.
Huh.
So you're going to go ahead and you could switch it around, because I know I should have told you that at the beginning, but I made it, I thought the sort of theatrics around it would be a little bit better. So I apologize for that. That's the bard in me.
I think that's a fun challenge to have a mastery link with that person. That's interesting. That's fun. I'm into it.
All right, moving on to David.
Yeah.
David, you are playing the friend, which means you start with 2 light links and 1 mastery link. So, who's your 2 light links?
So one of my light links is Sterling, because they're just Sterling is so cool.
Yeah.
They can like talk to ghosts, and they can turn into a dinosaur, and that's so somebody in David's family is a monster, and he can't turn into anything as cool as a dinosaur. That's awesome. You're my new best friend.
There you go. Dinosaurs equal best friends, as it should.
Must protect.
Yeah.
Yeah, David's like what, 10? No.
8.
8. I knew it was single digit, and I still said double. Damn.
8.
Try it.
I keep getting like 10 or 12 in my head.
We can't say fuck around, David. Just doesn't work.
Well,
Sterling's not going to be good at that.
We shouldn't say fuck around, David. Let me.
it's fine. His brother Eddie is also not good about not saying fuck, so...
I know I said this a little bit earlier. I always think it's funny that, like, in a game like Interstitial, I always do like to see if we can keep to the PG-13 one F-bomb rule. We never succeed, but it would be cool. Okay, and then who is your other light link?
My other light link is a super special secret that
Ooh.
will come to bite me in the ass later, I'm sure.
So that means that Rook is your...
Rook is my mastery link. David is from a family of hunters, and Rook has a lot of skills that would be very, very useful in tracking and hunting and doing the things that his family can do that he hasn't learned yet. So, yeah, I feel like, given the right circumstances, Rook could be a very good teacher.
Now moving on to Rook. Rook, you're playing the discarded, not the displaced. See, I didn't make the distinction that time. You're going to start with 2 dark links and 1 mastery link. Whoo boy.
That's right.
Who are getting your 2 dark links?
So, someone who's nobody's business is NPC, and then the other one is Sterling. The reason I chose Sterling for the dark link is because Rook is an only child, and when she's with Bard Rock Cafe crew, she's kind of the youngest, and even though it's difficult for her to be with people, she, being the youngest, has its perks. But now she's going to be kind of wedged in the middle. And there's someone who can like turn into a dinosaur and has all these cool beanie babies and stuff. There's a little bit of jealousy and insecurity there.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, actually.
Haha. And then the mastery link is David, because she, Rook was a thief when she was in the single digits too. So she can kind of see the potential in David, and will try and like make him better at hiding or whatever it is, so that he can get what we can get what we need done.
All right.
We're going to corrupt this child in new and different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's a great amount of link. Awesome moves. And before we move on to sign-offs and everything like that, I do think something that would be cool. So if you're listening here on Patreon, you've probably already followed the Bard Rock Network, and you probably listened to one or two APs. But it is very possible that you haven't listened to all 3 of the APs that are featured in here. You don't need to know all of the previous lore to enjoy this Interstitial games, because I know I don't. And we'll be giving rundowns whenever we need to. But just for like a kind of like a fun little before we wrap up, can you tell me what game your character comes from, and then what system that game uses? Because I think it's just funny that we're playing 3 characters that do not come from Interstitial, that do not or have not been played in Interstitial, coming from 3 separate games to also be in Interstitial. And we're gonna work in our usual order. So I'm gonna go to talk about Sterling first.
Yeah. In Blades in Paradise, we play Blades in the Dark, and Sterling is the tank of the group, so the cutter. And it's been very interesting rebuilding them for a different game.
It's a fun exercise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, David.
Yeah, David is from Monster Cafe. It's our family road trip Monster of the Week game, where we have a rotating cast of characters. It's different people every time, but everybody is part of the Van Helmon's family. It's very tight knit, and we can get some real cool dynamics from having different people on all the time. Hadisha's there too.
Sometimes.
That's awesome. I love Monster of the Week. That has been like one of my favorite systems. Evil Hat does some amazing stuff. And last and certainly not least, take a shot every time I say that phrase, because I'll say it a lot. Rook.
Yeah, Rook is from Bard Rock Cafe, kind of the flagship show. Ship show is hard to say. She is a pure rogue, and we play a D&D 5e.
There we go. We're bringing, you got to bring the anchor that holds it down, the 5th edition. We can't escape from it, run from it. It'll always be here forever and ever. D&D is eternity. It is the godless soul that you stare into the mirror at the dark and wonder what brought you here. But don't worry, because you don't touch that dial, because you can be listening to my dulcet tones once a month for around however amount of hour and a half. I don't know how it's going to come out. We'll see. And it's going to be me rambling for 50% of it. So I hope you're ready, folks, because I'm ready. Of course, we're about to jump into some interstitial games. So that ends the character talk of portion of our game, and we're going to move into sign-offs and kind of give you a preview of how this is all going to run down. I'm assuming that the next time we'll be hearing this is a month from is that the idea? Is that they're released on a monthly, a weekly? I don't know what our schedule is, Tensei. What our release schedule will be.
You know what? Yeah, this will be a monthly thing for all of our wonderful boosters.
Yeah.
So you'll have an awesome way to kind of interact. You'll be able to see the slide deck. I'll make a specific viewer one on the slide deck, which is awesome, that you'll be able to keep up from week to week and kind of see everything as it goes forward. Think about the characters and, of course, kind of wait it out. You have a month to digest all this. But something I like to do at the end of the game is we're going to do our roll call. Yeah, it's time for a roll call. So I'm going to go up, you're going to go one by one, and you're going to tell me who you are, where they can find you, and what you got going on. Bear in mind that these aren't going out for a little bit, so don't try to be like, hey, I'm doing this next week, because it will already have passed. I learned that the hard way. All right, so who's first up for a roll call? Or do I have to call on you like I'm the teacher? It's me? No, I'm the last one to go. GM goes last. I go down my ship. You know what, just for that, Tensei, you're going first.
Sure. Hello, I am Tensei. You can find me right here on the Bard Rock network of shows. I'm on the main flagship show, Bard Rock Cafe. I'm on Monster Cafe. I'm on other things occasionally. You know what? Follow me on Blue Sky. I am Tensei, TENSEI.bardrockcafe.com over there. And if I'm on something, you can be sure I'll say something about it. I'm kind of hopping all over the place.
All right, heading on to the next one. We're going up in the list. It's you, Riley.
All right. Yeah, hi. You can find me on Blades in Paradise, which is part of the Bard Rock Network. Also host the Arita mission. Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky as well. So it's Arita Studio, Aurita.
Awesome. And our final player.
Hey. Just to remind you, I'm Khadija, and I'm mostly on the Bard Rock campaign as Rook, and you can also find me on Blue Sky, showing off my art and talking about who the heck knows what I'm doing that day. On Blue Sky, I'm my first name, KHADEJA.bardrockcafe.com.
And I'm sure we'll have this all linked in the description as well. If not, I will bother Tensei to do it and send them and David to the mines until they acquiesce with my demands. But thank you all for listening today. I was your GM, Nick, where you can find me on Blue Sky at Nobleman Nick. You can find a dead Twitter account at Nobleman Nick as well. And you can find an Instagram account at Nobleman Nick. Bear in mind, my Instagram's more of my personal life. So if you want to hear about that stuff, go ahead and just go on Blue Sky. Blue Sky's fun. The skies are bluer, and they're not in control of fascists. Can I say that on this podcast? I don't know. I don't care. But with all said and done, I'm going to turn the last things over. Tensei, is there anything else we need to talk about before we shuttle them off into Dreamland?
Just, if you're listening to this, it means that you've given us a lot of support over the last few years, and we really appreciate it. So
yeah, thanks.
Honestly and truly, thank you. You guys allow us to hire editors. You allow us to get the really cool logos that you see on some of our shows, and we can't do what we do without you. So thank you.
And I'm assuming there will be a channel on the Discord about this podcast.
There will be.
Which you can, because of the long downtime between our recording sessions, you can go ahead and drop stuff in, being like, this would be cool to see. Yeah, contribute to the death games, please.
Mm-hmm.
Give me ammunition.
Give Nick more ammo to use against us.
Absolutely. And then my lovely GM assistant, who is remaining in the shadows, it will also be assisting me with some information and extra knives that I can pull out to metaphorically, figuratively, and maybe quite literally stab my players with. We'll see. But for it, that was session 0 of the Interstitial Games. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for being loyal boosters to the Patreon. And we'll see you next month.
Restoration at 98%.